Nigeria's reconfiguration must now focus on economic productivity as opposed to sharing. What got us in this mess was the fact that the 1999 Constitution imposed on us by the military was based on sharing formula for revenues accruing from the sale of crude oil. Everybody was focused on the sale of crude oil, or hydrocarbon if you would, and how these monies would be divvied up. And so a huge dependency was created. So the states, local governments were created without concern for viability and sustainability economically, and all designed to receive allocation from Abuja every month. That's how the system is being run. So when you hear the debates about and conversations about what the parties, big parties will do differently, there's nothing they can do differently because they are operating on a false premise, a foundation that is about to collapse. Why is it about to collapse? It is because the next 8 to 10 years, over half of the world will move away from hydrocarbon. They will go electrification. Automobile companies around the world, manufacturers of engines and motors, are all now moving away from using hydrocarbon products. They will no longer be buying crude oil. Volume of crude we'll be able to sell will more than half, so will the price. Because cars now will be operating on electric batteries. Most motors will be running on electric batteries. In terms of the renewable energy, that's the direction of the world economy. And so you'll be in difficulty. Yes. And if you don't have crude oil sales and revenue accruing from crude, and you have a system dependent on sharing of crude oil sales, our poverty level, which is already the worst in the world, will double. That's where we're going, and all Progressives and Alliance is prepared to do something about it and do it right away.
Sir, you've said a few things, and let me bring you back to some of the things you've said about the APC and the PDP. You've said they are just reacting old failed policies.
Correct.
And I am quick to ask, at about March this year, first week of March this year, you, before that time, you were a member of the APC, and you resigned from that party.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
What could have made you?
Well,
because at that time,
yes,
you were interested in the governorship, to go to government house in Imo State.
Yes.
Suddenly, now you are, maybe by providence or, maybe by the grace of God, you are now the vice presidential candidate of APGA.
Yes.
In your political pursuit, from APC now to APGA, and at the time there were insinuations you may move to the PDP, but it turned out to be APGA.
Well, let me answer that.
Okay.
I had been a long-standing member of the PDP.
Okay.
In fact, I was the chairman of Contact and Mobilization. I, working alongside a small team, rebuilt PDP in Imo State.
Okay.
I moved to the APC for two considerations. One was the fact that President Buhari, under the AMPP, I had worked for.
Okay.
Because my late brother-in-law, Dr. Chukwueke, was his running mate. And because of that relationship, when he became president-elect, I made the decision to move to the APC to support his policies and to also help Imo economic development. I left the APC because Governor Rochas let everybody down. Imo was absolutely collapsing by day before the eyes of the world. And he just totally decided to privatize Imo. And many of us could not accept that for the sake of our people. And that was why I stepped away. I've been a progressive my whole life. Because progressive agenda, it's so important for countries like Nigeria that are looking to find their place in history.
So you say, what you're saying now
yes,
APC in Imo State
Yes.
does not represent progressivism.
Absolutely not.
And of course, that Okorocha is making it a personal estate.
Yes, and that's the situation we find ourselves in.
But we have a situation where most Nigerians are looking at the situation as a fact that Okorocha is falling apart with the APC national chairman. And there could be reasons, and it could be reasons based that will suit the interest of Imo State in particular, and Nigeria, in general.
Well, let me just say this.
Okay.
Governor Okorocha's story, I really rather not talk too much about, because I want to focus on the progressive agenda of the All Progressive Joint Alliance. But if you're following the story going on in Imo, I think it's clear that a major reason why Governor Okorocha is having a falling out with the APC is because he wants to install his son-in-law as governor of Imo.
Exactly.
Straightforward. That's what the issue is. And when the APC made the decision that they weren't going to support that, the crisis began.
Yes.
After all, Governor Okorocha was a key player in ensuring the emergence of Oshomole, the current chairman of the APC. But having said that, let me get back to the progressive agenda of the All Progressive Joint Alliance. What we know is that the future of this great country lies in the hands of what we must do differently now, because we don't have a lot of time to make those corrections. These two big political parties have failed Nigeria, and they will continue to fail. What we must do is to ensure that we call on Nigerians to stand up courageously, bearing in mind the future of our country and the future of our children and generations to come, and find in us that strong sense of belief again in Nigeria, that we need to start believing again, and come together enough to say what is in the best interest of our country, knowing that the ways we have tried to run this country have not worked. I don't want to get into all the economic statistics. We know them all. From the GDP to per capita income to debt profile, some of them we'll talk about in a few minutes, and the growth of our population and where we're going. The key thing is that we must find in ourselves and stand up in all honesty, be honest about our future, to say we can't keep doing the same things over and over again and expect a different result. That we must move in the direction of fiscal restructuring. We hear the arguments about political restructuring. People want more states, they want more local government. That's not the current focus of the All Progressive Joint Alliance, because that was all based on sharing formula. But we are now going to have to move to baking the cake, because there's not much to share anymore. So we say, we now, we know it requires a constitutional amendment, and that's why I'm calling on Nigerians to find the courage to stand up and do the needful for our country. That we now move to economic entities, knowing that most states are not viable. Many of them can't pay salaries. In fact, most of them can't. They are receiving bailouts. They are receiving Paris Club refunds. They are owing all sorts of monies. Their internally generated revenues are poor. We are not producing. In fact, when you look at the statistics, it's unbelievably pitiful, from manufacturing and so on. So our economy is not going anywhere but down. And we can reverse it by focusing on economic entities who can now get on with doing what they do best. Everybody competing in their economic zone to create jobs, create prosperity for our people. It will require resource control. It will require local and state policing. Nothing wrong with that. It is in our best interest to open the doors and windows of the economic opportunity of our people. I gave an example with Abuja yesterday. Here is the federal capital territory. Anywhere else in the world, this territory will be known for export of building materials. We have great mineral resources. Just one item, the quality of the rocks. We'll be manufacturing floor tiles and building materials and granite and marble, polishing, processing, logistics, selling to different parts of the world in export, earning money. Abuja has no business waiting for allocation. So I can go on with all the states, but if we come together in an economic entities and focus on what we do best, to bring value to the center by way of royalties and taxes to sustain foreign affairs and defense, and allow these entities to compete favorably, focus on what they do best, given their natural and human resources, focus on their own opportunities, whether they want to focus on infrastructure, agriculture, dry ports, manufacturing, private sector, bridges, roads, create jobs. That's how the global economy is moving. This is 21st century, and the people running Nigeria now are taking us back to the 19th century because they want us to continue to depend on crude oil sales that are running out, and revenues are running out, and our people are poorer by day and going further down.
The whole back and forth between PDP and the APC seems to be generating a lot of interest. The president says, give me another chance. And the PDP, through its national publicity secretary yesterday, came out and said, the president should just go, have a deserved rest in Daura. That really gives room for the APGA, which is the third largest political party. I can see
absolutely. And yes, let me just explain what's going on. First, the All Progressives Alliance is the third largest political party in Nigeria. We have produced governors. We have, at the moment, at least 11 members of the National Assembly. We have scores of members of respective state houses of assembly, councillors everywhere. And there was no, if you would, no cogent reason why the All Progressives Grand Alliance should have been excluded from the vice presidential debate on Friday.
I was going to come to that.
Yes, we were told that the shortlisting was based on online polling and Facebook polling. Well, I understand some of that. At best, in our view, that would have been only just one indicator. Because the real indicators would be what's on the ground.
What representation can that party boast?
Absolutely. Membership, spread, ability to win elections. What do you have in terms of success story and track record? Who do you have? Who is performing? Look at what's going on in Anambra State. That we have an All Progressives Alliance model state that has no employment challenge. So here we go. A good level of employment level in Anambra State. Strong IGR, no bailout monies, fifth from bottom of recipient of allocation. The fourth largest economy in Nigeria, with strong infrastructure and healthcare and agriculture and cooperatives. And Anambra is working. And anybody who has any doubt, get out there and see what's going on in Anambra State. That's the sort of All Progressives Grand Alliance management and governance model that will work for Nigeria. So when you exclude us from the debate, you deny Nigerians the opportunity to hear our progressive agenda. And so I believe I hold no grudges. I think they will get it right going forward, and that's our hope.
But are you looking forward to being a part of the presidential?
Well, we are urging them to make that adjustment because the three parties that were one of the amongst the five don't even have a councillor. Three of them are only social media political parties. They're not on the ground anywhere.
How do you mean social media political
parties? That's what they are. They are not.
They must have offices somewhere in Nigeria or in Abuja.
They are social
for them to be recognized, by the election campaign group.
But the election campaign group told you how they came up with them. That it was online polling on Facebook. They have nobody in the House of Assembly. They never run elections. They never won anything. So, and I don't want to discourage them. But we should have the opportunity to get a progressive agenda on the ground for Nigeria. I think that's the point. But let me say this. The truth of the matter is that President Buhari is honest about the fact that Nigeria is not in a good place.
And that, we should expect tougher times.
And he says, I don't have any answers. Pray for me, he says. He says, pray for me. I don't have any answers. The economy is failing. Well, the economy will continue to fail because even the other big party has no solutions that we can place our hands on. I ask him, what would you do differently from what the current administration is doing? Not much. And this is where the All Progressive Joint Alliance comes in, because we take the position that what we must start to do immediately when we are voted into power, preparatory to the fiscal restructuring that in our view is a must for Nigeria, is to immediately engage with a strong commitment of a minimum of 5% reduction in the cost of governance. That's the first step.
So you mean there will be less ministers in your cabinet?
I'm not so sure that the issue is the number of ministers. It's in the amount of money being spent in governance.
On running governance.
National Assembly, the governors and state houses, security votes, the presidential, all of the monies we're spending in running governance is simply unsustainable for Nigeria. We are committed to a minimum of 5% reduction per year, and we shall domicile, working with the states and institutions of government, the savings accruable to build in social safety net infrastructure, specialist hospitals, quality education and housing, so Nigerians can start to feel the impact and benefits of savings. And we'll go further. We will place a moratorium on borrowing, because currently Nigeria's revenue, largely accruing from crude oil sales, about 50% of it is going towards servicing debt. The debt profile is unsustainable. Over $28 billion now in borrowings, and over 22 trillion naira owed by Nigeria.
Let me quickly interject.
Yes.
The APC is often known to say they cannot have 3 years to just fix what damage was done in 16 years.
Well, I got news for you.
You know they met the recession as a result of, the PDP leaving.
No,
those are excuses. Sorry, the explanations coming.
Yeah, when you call them excuses, I will take that one.
And let me call them explanations.
Because I think the point is, look, I don't want to get into the chicken and the egg who came first between the APC and PDP. What we know is that they failed Nigerians, and they will continue to fail. Nothing different is going to happen so long as we are not prepared to make the decision that we must make for Nigeria. Look, there is nothing to be afraid of with restructuring. I'm making an example of North Central. Great opportunity for agriculture, great opportunity for processing centers, and strong infrastructure, manufacturing. Why is it, and I keep talking about what we must do in the immediate, that we want to, in getting to the central governance of Nigeria come 2019, to be able to drive a geo-economic zone strategy, where we bring all the states in each political zone, geopolitical zone together, and turn them into geo-economic zones by basically driving with the states, foreign investors and private business people to say, look, let's focus on what this zone can do best. We will bring matching funds. Let the states contribute to this pot. Rather than spending their monies on projects they never get to complete, let us save money by deploying infrastructure that can serve the zone. So we can go into power supply for the geo-economic zones, go into infrastructural development, go into quality education and healthcare, focus on what those zones do best. And that will give us a chance to create jobs and economic empowerment. So we are not wasteful with resources anymore. That's an important strategy that must come to play. Focus on what we do best in our respective geo-economic zones, driven and supported by the federal government. These are the key things. And we're going to move further by looking at the security apparatus. What we're doing now with regards to the high level of insecurity we face in Nigeria. A few weeks ago we were told, bearing in mind that even our military formations are being overrun by the Boko Haram.
The Metele example, and the video that emerged about 3 weeks ago.
Yes, let me tell you, the responsibility, job one, of any government is the protection of lives and property. And that's not even happening here. We are dead last on that one as well. Because the whole of the Northeast is largely being devastated.
Almost been overrun.
And so I don't want to get into a blame game. I'm into solutions, because that's what the All Progressives Alliance and the presidency of General Ball will produce for Nigeria. And here's what we're talking about. We are prepared on going into office to take a completely different strategy and say, look, our military is under pressure, security forces under pressure. We are not able to buy and bring in equipment to fight Boko Haram on time. You are aware that we have some important equipment we paid for.
That may come in at
2023. What's going to happen between now and then?
Yes.
You see that we're in a lot of difficulty. So we are prepared to make the commitment on a temporary basis to bring in military contractors to help fight alongside our gallant men and women in the armed forces.
And also give them the opportunity to train.
Exactly. Give them the opportunity to train, gain more experience. These guys, companies will bring in their equipment and tools, their aircrafts, their tanks, their armored personnel carriers, their trained men and women, their technology, and focus on this fight to deal a devastating blow to Boko Haram. But having said that, we say we'll be on a temporary basis until we can reposition our armed forces, our security forces who have been gallantly engaged. Look, we know we live in a divided country. The morale of our security forces cannot be that high under the circumstances. But when we go beyond that, we say, because security is job one, it needs to get done. And we can work hand in hand as well with all areas of agitation, because our government will engage with all parties. Wherever there is injustice, we are very open to addressing them, because we love Nigeria. Whether it's a Boko Haram issue or Niger Delta militancy issue, these are Nigerians who also have a right to express injustices or whatever agitations they may have. We have a responsibility to engage with them and ensure that where there is no justice, that there is justice and equity. We're all Nigerians. And lastly, with regarding to security, we know a big challenge with herdsmen and farmers' clutches that is causing so much insecurity coming down the middle belt and moving further south. It's straightforward. I don't know why a few politicians are using tribe and religion and state of origin to divide our people. Nigerians are a great people because our strength lies in our diversity. Because when we look at that particular situation, our government, led by General Ball, is committed to deploying with the CBN low-hanging fruit of single-digit monies to support business people, farmers and cattle rearers to invest in ranches. That's what we will do. And when we support an investment in ranches, like it's done all over the world, then we have the opportunity for the agricultural value chain in dairy products, in processing, in logistics, and we create thousands and thousands of new jobs. And we shall invest in massive water irrigation schemes in the north, because desertification is an issue. We are losing 0.6 kilometers per year to the desert. And what that means is with massive water irrigation schemes, we will fight back the desert, we will create more green and water, and there will be less pressure. Cattle moving north to south. By the time they get south, all the statistics are clear. They lose some 40% weight, and the meat isn't that good anymore.
So I really must say, you've said quite a lot. Nigerians have a choice to make, and we hope that you'll use your PVC wisely